Thank you. We're going to, this is the Lewiston Public Works Advisory Commission's regular meeting, March 19, 2025, here at noon o'clock. Noon o'clock. How about that? So the first thing we'll do is call to order. Any citizen comments? I don't see any. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the commission and will be enacted by one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items unless a commissioner so requests, at which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered under items removed from the consent agenda. So we have, so that'll take care of the approval for the December 18 meeting minutes. Moving on to the active agenda.
We need to have a motion to vote.
Oh, we do have to vote on that. Boy, I am rusty. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the December 18th, 2024 meeting minutes.
It's been moved and seconded, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now we go on to the active agenda. Election of officers.
I can just provide a kind of summary. So Kevin Kelly was our vice chair, and he resigned from the commission in January. And he filled out a brief exit interview that's in your packets that can provide some insight on his experience on the commission and his suggestions for us moving forward. So we do need to nominate and elect a vice chair, and then Councilor Schroeder notified us last week.
Late in the game.
Yeah, that she would like to step down as chairperson. So we need to elect both officer seats today.
So how does this go about? Do we just nominate someone or do we just, can we?
Yes, I believe so. You can nominate yourself, you can nominate someone else.
Keep in mind, if I don't get reelected, my time is gonna be coming up, so that's definitive if I got reelected or not, so you might wanna.
Our council liaisons, their time on the commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
is up
And then
in
they do rotate as
January.
well.
Yeah, so you might wanna pick someone that's gonna be more consistent.
I'll throw my hat in the ring, but it's up to the powers that be.
So we have one person that's volunteered.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, all right, Laura. Any others?
Unless you would.
Except for Luke, we can't elect him.
Two positions.
Thank
I'm more than happy filling one of those roles if
Okay. Chair or vice chair?
Commission chooses, sure.
Okay. Any others? All right, so, all those in favor of Laura for chair?
Need to take it. How it goes?
Okay. If someone
I feel like we're, I don't know, for some reason I feel like we're.
if someone wants to make a motion to
Okay, that's
elect
what I-
Laura as the chair for PWAC, then you guys can vote and then we'll do the same thing with.
So we need a motion.
I make a motion to elect as chair Laura Wright.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So,
Do I take on at this point or just?
I think it's after the agenda items complete.
I think
So
so
we'll
too.
have you
That's what
finish it and
Okay.
then we can move to Laura.
thank you for keep me on track.
I think we're trying to.
The attorney will let us know later if we've done
Yes.
anything wrong. That's how I always feel.
So I need to have a motion for, to elect a vice chair.
I move to elect Commissioner Rader for vice chair.
Second. Can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. We have chair and vice chair.
Perfect. So now that you've been succeeded, you can then take it away. Laura.
No problem. So we're still on the active agenda, item B, which is the advisory boards and commission periodic review. The mayor has requested a periodic review, be completed by all advisory boards and commission in the time for the work session, which is going to be on April 7th, 2025. So I guess we will have a little bit of discussion on this and then before we take in, an action on this item. Is that you, or is that Luke?
Do you have anything you wanted to
I do not have anything
share?
that I need to say on it. no.
Sure, so, I think everyone else got it, but LP on the desk there, it's got an amended agenda sheet, which we already just went past, so you can grab that. But then there's an email from, Brent, who's one of our commissioners. He's not able to be here today, but he shared his thoughts, on this agenda item. And so, there's this little matrix here that's in your packet that includes, some of the staff liaisons comments on these topics. That's part of the code annual review or periodic review. So if there's anything on those topics that you would want to comment on, that you would want included in the memo, that's gonna go to the mayor and city council, now would be the time to share those thoughts.
I guess kind of discussing each of these and they're all somewhat related. It's the duties and powers and then also the continued existence. These are the ones we're looking at. Is that correct?
That's what I
Those
understand.
three
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
okay. So, early on, when this group was started, I kind of raised a similar question about the existence of PWAC and that really we shouldn't just exist to exist. We should have, serve a purpose and actually be useful. I think we've hit the dartboard, but maybe not the bullseye on that over the last year. And just that at times, I feel like at times we've done a pretty good job of commenting on or focusing on a specific policy, and other times we've taken our own, kind of determined our own path, and it maybe hasn't been as useful as it could be for staff. Because my understanding is that that's really our purpose, is to support the public works staff and in that role. And I would say, I do feel like we have at least provided some value and think we should, existence should continue. But I do think, more clear assignments from whether it's staff or from council or others on what types of things we can do that are useful. And I brought up was discussing a little bit with staff earlier, and the idea of always a lot of tasks that maybe public works can't get to that are important, but just don't ever rise to the level of being on fire. And so they're not getting, we all put our priorities together. We all have those at the bottom of the list that kind of keep just getting shoveled back and shoveled back. And so maybe a little bit more, focus on some of those types of things that are within our capabilities that the staff don't feel like they can get to. We can get really clear assignments and it's within our capabilities. Seems like those are good, would be good things to focus on.
It was a good comment. Go ahead. It was a good comment.
I know the timing has been an issue. I think also with public coming here, I don't think we'll ever have, unless someone's retired or maybe works night shifts or something, but I don't think we'll have public engagement at these meetings particularly. So I don't know how hard it is for the time to change on other people's schedules, but it seems like a more afternoon would be more manageable for our public to be able to attend, as well as maybe get more people that actually have time to be a part of the commission. But I know we've talked about this before and had some issues depending on people's schedules and stuff, but might be worth revisiting. I only have one comment. I always feel like
we get everything after the fact. I don't feel like we're ever in front, kind of to follow up with Commissioner Rader's or Vice Chair Rader's comment. I think the reason we're missing that bullseye at this point is I always feel like we're after the fact or there's a rush. We, you know, because whether for meeting purposes or whatever, you know, we didn't see the budget until it kind of was already into the works of that. We see a policy that kind of already, we are gonna be taking into council or council's already seen it and we're just kind of getting that perusal after the fact. And so I feel sometimes like we're in an afterthought, we're kind of being missed in the process. Oh, yeah, we need to go back and talk to the Public Works Commission. So I kind of feel a lot of the time, it's like we're always behind the 8 ball here. And, you know, and then when things do come out and need to then go for council, I feel like some of those policies get rushed. And then all of a sudden it's before them, so we don't get a chance to have a second review. And so I think that's really critical. Sometimes is that, you know, we all contribute to a policy to make it really well done. So I'm thinking about the last one, we kind of all had some very good thoughts on. And I believe I requested to see it back before it went back before council, you know, because we just want to make sure that it flowed right, or, you know, all of our thoughts were captured correctly, you know, instead of just kind of like, you know, here it is, and, you know, hope it was incorporated how we thought. So that's my kind of biggest concern with the overall commitment. As for time, I don't know if this is a commission a lot of people come to. And just in years of experience of kind of, it's kind of one of those things, they only kind of come out in the woodwork when it's something that they really get passionate about. Then all of a sudden they show up or something. But I think also my comment would also be is if there's a way to push out more on, because to me, for citizens' comments, and I've done this a few times for the councils, I think people don't realize they can also send in written comments. They don't necessarily need to be here. And I think if the city could push out a little bit more that you're more than welcome to send in an email to comment on a policy or comment on something or have the commissioners consider. So those are my couple of thoughts on that.
How do you feel from your position or from Dustin's position that how we can better serve?
So there's been, I guess, some discussion on how do we do better as staff trying to bring items that are relevant to this commission so that what we put in front of you is stuff that, you know, you guys will help, and as Laura commented, improve, and then we can go to council with it. And so we're working on that actively on the staff side, trying to focus kind of our attention on making sure that happens. So there's priorities we have that we'll be trying to bring to you. I was going to mention this underneath the staff comments, but the rewrite for the development code on infrastructure, or not infrastructure, frontage improvements. There we go. Those will be coming up, hopefully. The temporary traffic control policy has just gotten basically shelved for other priorities, and we'll be bringing that back eventually. I think that's a good focus for this group. And then, the last thing, but those are examples of items that we'll be bringing. And I think if we can get in a groove as staff to bring those, Laura said, with enough time to provide comment, like the traffic control policy, it got shelved and it's been waiting, right? And it's obviously not top shelf priority, but we're working on it. And I think allowing staff the opportunity to bring priorities to you so that it's kind of aligning with what we're already working on, so that we're not trying to shuttle and shift and, you know, help meet the demands of the commission as opposed to bringing things to the commission than receiving your feedback, which would be very helpful. If the commission starts providing priorities to us, then that adds a work level that a lot of times we end up putting off things that we need to be doing so that we can meet those, because we do want to be responsive to the commission. So that's kind of the dynamic, I guess. Does that help answer? Does
That
that answer what you?
does. Would the more frequent meetings be a benefit to you to get information to us sooner? Or is a month seem to be adequate?
I think a month is more than adequate at this point, based on the things we've got to bring. Potentially there could be need occasionally for ramping up meetings, which I think we could work out kind of on a case by case basis.
An additional meeting, special meeting?
Yeah, if we called a special meeting or
Mhm.
something, that would be great to have that latitude with
I think
the
we
commission.
We should do that.
But I think otherwise, based on, if we can work based on the items that we have brought before you, and if we don't have something to fill a month, then we let it go. And if we do have things, then we make sure we're getting them in front of you. But a month seems to have been working. I think there's been a few canceled meetings lately, just the Main Street project, which I'll update you all about coming up, I think it's been a big lift. And so
Yeah.
there's been a lot going on with that in the background, but as a result, we've had to push some things.
Thank you. Yes, you did answer that. Thank you.
Any other comments for consideration?
I know Jennifer Tangano is extremely busy. I think she's like our only attorney right now, really dealing with a lot of stuff. And so she had mentioned, and I don't know if this is the right group for it, but we've gotten a public comment on parking and people parking for extended amount of times. And so I don't know, maybe even using this group to go over codes and suggestions. I mean, we had Public Works, or not Public Works, sorry, Planning and Zoning had done that with a code amendment a while ago where they went through it and suggested code amendments and what they felt was better. So something like that too, was like if there's certain codes that kind of lie under the umbrella of Public Works type stuff from Jennifer, maybe asking her, and that could alleviate stress for her as well as get the ball moving for council, because you guys can come up with some suggestions and then we can see it, review it, and someone's at least working on it. I would think parking is kind of under this umbrella. Don't you think? Extended parking.
I'm unfamiliar with what the issue is, sorry.
So
I'll be hesitant to comment.
what it's been typically is like someone's parking in front of someone's house on the, public parking, but they're there for weeks and they're just basically living on the street. And so trying to figure out how can we alleviate someone parking somewhere for an extended period of time. But within that parking code, there might be other things maybe that need adjusted too. I haven't looked at it deeply enough because I remember I'd asked her about rewriting and she's like, I'm pretty busy. So if you wanted to do it, and I was like, yeah, you can send it my way. But obviously though, if you have more than my eyes on it, it'd be really beneficial to be able to look at that and present that to council with suggestions and ideas of how we can maybe alleviate. I'm not sure how other cities handle it, but even
So it's
looking into that.
either, so it's something we need to know if it's a code enforcement item or if it's a streets, public works item for somebody to make that determination.
Yeah, and based on that description, that would be code enforcement, that would take care of that. Code enforcement PD, they kind of work together on delinquent vehicles. The public works, from our perspective, park there as long as you want, just move it when we have a project. Right?
Yeah,
So
I know.
we don't tell people that.
Planning and zoning did, when they did, was it parking with planning and zoning?
P and Z had, when they were doing that, it was for a totally different scenario. It's parking in the bigger sense, not.
I think it was, yeah, due to, when you're getting a permit, right? For your like housing and stuff. So I
And
think
when
it
you
might-
are building something, how many parking spaces do you have? That falls under.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, thank
That
you.
falls under P and Z.
But anyway, that was kind of an example. If there is other codes that would lie within maybe that, it might be worth looking into. Or something along the lines of having this commission be able to have eyes on that and make recommendations.
Yeah, I agree for sure. We've got, like I just mentioned, the 3151 rewrite. That's the frontage improvement code.
Yeah.
That will be, I think we may have brought that to council for your feedback already, but we also want to bring it to this group and then present it to council as like a final. We brought it to you in a work session.
Mhm.
Like, here's what we're thinking. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Got some feedback, incorporated that. Now we're ready to come to this commission, get your guys' feedback and take it back to council and say, all right, here's the final product.
Perfect.
Because we needed, the reason why we went to council first that time, just to be clear, was without council's agreeance that we needed to change directions of the code. We didn't want to waste everyone's time with going through, commission comments and public feedback and all of that, and then going to the code change. We kind of wanted to say, here's what we're thinking, council. Does this make sense to you? And you guys concurred, which we're thankful for. And so now we're moving forward with that whole process. But we didn't want to go through the whole process and then bring it to council and be like, this is what we decided for you, because that's not the way it should work.
Okay, real quick,
Yes.
one more. And so related to some of these assignments like this, so and the frequency of meetings, it seems like, use an example, tomorrow, you guys start work on a project. It's another, basically a month until we would potentially see something on it. Like, once it became a priority for the staff, it would be a month till we saw it, probably another month until you see anything back from us. Is there a better workflow that gets us to
Yes.
either, and it doesn't necessarily, even within the frequency of monthly meetings, to get stuff to us, to get our input within that month? Like, because otherwise it just seems like these things, we see it, by the time we actually get something official on it, it's kind of like, you guys are already done with it. You're like, why are we still talking about that?
Yeah.
So it just seems like the nimbleness of monthly rigid meetings, plus it might be more of a workflow thing, I guess, for us. So I don't know if there's like a way to advance assigned stuff. I know we get agendas, but ways to like actually make assignments for things that we need to do and be prepared for the upcoming meeting so that we can actually make a decision on it at the meeting.
Well, possibly even a special meeting, but have it be a work session where we can dig into it and maybe do something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like use these standard meetings as kind of, hey, this is what we're thinking of bringing up. These are coming down the pipeline. And now we're gonna have a special meeting that we're really gonna dig into this and then have recommendations. So once it gets to council, to me, that would make sense. And I know, our MSAB board, emergency board, they do special meetings. So like, they don't meet very often. I think it's like 4 times a year, but when they have special scenarios, then they just do special meetings and get their work done then. Cause they don't need to consistently meet and have enough stuff to go over, but yeah, I know they use that quite a bit.
You did a better explanation of my feeling behind it all then than I did, so thank you.
Yeah, I think the concept of a revised workflow there is sound, especially if we have a priority project. Some of these, frankly, they take a while because we've got so many other things going on that we don't prioritize, a code rewrite or whatever the case may be, just depending on its urgency. So I think it may, like, I appreciate the interest in revising that to be able to move things forward more promptly and give you guys, more opportunity to be involved upfront. So we're thinking about something we say, hey, can we have an advanced meeting, or sending out information ahead of time to say, here's what we're thinking. Can you give us feedback ahead of time? You just can't reply to each other.
Right, you can't do that.
Right.
They can go through you though, can't they? If they did some research and they made a comment
Yes,
to
I
then
could
come to the meeting.
distribute stuff, but yeah, open meeting laws.
Yeah.
Is a no.
So I mean, even if you got it ahead of time, but it didn't really maybe warrant a meeting, but you had feedback, you could always give your feedback before the meeting.
We have,
And then-
we have done that
Yeah, you
at
do
times,
that,
and Haley's the coordinator.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, and then we give her all the comments. She tries to compile everything prior to the meeting, so.
Maybe just using that more often. I think
Yep,
if
we can do that.
Way to do it.
Any more comments for the mayor's work session on this commission? Anyone else?
Kind of gonna say what both of you said, like, increasing in community engagement, like, yeah, this time, like, I don't think, have we ever really had citizen comments? Like, I don't really think so. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend moving it to a later time, but also like what
Having-
Commissioner Kelly said, that his reason for leaving was maybe the time. So, but, I mean, this time works for me, but for the community, it might be less able for them to make it, but like you said, like.
I've done happy emails to a lot of commissions.
Yeah, like pushing it out that they can leave comments online or send them into her and they'll can get it to us.
I'm not sure how many people know we.
A lot of people don't know it is read into the record.
Yeah,
And
this
that
is
you,
even a
that's a
commission
perfectly good
Yeah.
way to provide comments. People do not realize that. And if they knew the power of the pen, or the email, I think people would do it more often.
Tonight too, at the open house would be a good opportunity to, hey, Public Works is gonna be talking about this a lot, this commission is, and a good time to either put your email in or ask questions and we can get back to you as a commission, because before this vote comes, people are gonna have a lot of questions, I would imagine, and concerns and thoughts. And
Yes.
So, and you guys are really at the forefront and the best to be able to portray that appropriately, because you know, you guys are in the thick of it and knowing about it and been the beginnings of it, so.
Okay. Final? Okay. Thank you. That's the action item, is to have everybody comment, so.
I don't think so unless
I
you
don't
wanted to formalize it, but yeah.
I think it's just providing context. Okay. All right, item 5, we do not have any items on the removed from the consent agenda, so we'll go to unfinished and new business. Let's start with commissioners' comments. Comments should not be related to items that were currently before the commission or an item that might come before the commission or in the foreseeable future, and should be limited to comments, not discussion. Any comments at this time?
This is a hard one for my other commissions. You don't get to talk pretty much the whole entire time until the very end of the meeting because you're not a voting member or anything. So this looks like I already got all my talking out. So it's like, I don't have really anything to talk about. But I appreciate you guys' work and you guys are always here and.
Well, and, you know, it could be
Anybody.
suggestions for anything in the future or anything like that as well. So
Oh.
we use this for
Think of
for
that.
any of those ideas at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Think of that.
Anyone else? No?
Oh, actually, if you do think of things that you guys want me to bring at my council comment time, when it comes to our regular meetings, I can always bring stuff up. I try to ask the commissions that if you guys have things you want me to bring up, or bring to the public's eye to, you know, let me know. But I also will bring up again that, hey, at this time, you can send in your comments, concerns so to try to make it a little more broad. So I'll at least do that for now. But yeah, if you guys think of anything.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Staff liaison comments.
I got most of mine out already. The only thing I'd highlight, the only thing I'd highlight is what Kathy was just mentioning about the open house for Main Street, the Main Street Bond this evening, 5:30 to 7:30 at the library. We'll probably start a small little presentation around 5:40 and then allow people to circulate through and ask questions of staff for the rest of the time. So we are getting all of our boards finalized downstairs and should be ready to have that. That's the plan. There'll be some water and cookies, so.
I know we did not
Motivation.
have kind of a director's report. Is there anything else that's happened over the last couple of months that we should know about? I know Haley was good in signing all of us up for the various notices that go out. So there's been a lot of construction bids I saw that went out. But is there anything within the,
Nothing that necessarily rises to the commission level. There's lots of stuff going on, like you commented, lots of projects going on this summer. We've got more coming out, more to get out. Things have been burning on both ends for engineering. Wastewater and water are doing well and doing what they do, right? Making water and processing water. So they're taking care of that, and sanitation is, as our manager always says, garbage in, garbage out. Like, just what they do. So things have been, I think, fairly smooth, just really busy. Like I said, lots of projects, and the Main Street has been a heavy lift, trying to get that up and going.
Did the compost agreement, did all of that get finalized and agreed to?
Haley, do you
That was
know?
in December.
It was in
Yeah.
December, so that is complete, okay. Those are kind of good items.
Yeah.
No, we did work on that, so that's where it's just trying to find out, okay.
I guess an
And
update on stormwater too. I forgot, we got the stormwater utility. Stormwater we're collecting revenue, and we've got a few really good projects done. Folks probably don't realize the impact that they've already had. But you know, a few $1,000s here and there has already alleviated some key areas that used to flood regularly with some of the storms that we've already had since we've done those projects. So it's been great to have those funds to start to do things like that with, begin to make improvements, and are looking forward to getting more done. And there's a really big list of capital improvements to do off of that list. So as funds come in, we'll be prioritizing those. And it also has the potential of helping with the Main Street improvements as well, as since there'll be stormwater that needs to go in with that. So it's been good to have that utility up and starting to go, and look forward to seeing it grow and build and be able to do more, because we have a utility doesn't mean that all the problems went away. It just means we're starting to collect revenue to deal with them.
very good. One last question. I know it's a little early, but you must be sort of planning, will there be your Public Works Day in May?
Yeah, May 22nd.
Checking.
I think so. May 22nd is the Public Works Expo. And
I know you'll do a more formal announcement next month, but I just getting it there already.
yeah, it'd be great to see everyone. It's always a blast getting, seeing all the little kids come through and having fun with them. It's a good time. It's a little bit refreshing, I think. Kind of refocuses you on why we're doing this.
All right, any last comments, you two? All right.
Someone needs to go to the school board and tell them to get the Lewiston schools more involved.
Probably
know,
not that much
oh my
for
goodness,
the
yes.
This year
Huh.
with classes from Lewiston schools.
They are.
Yeah,
Oh.
so far, anyway.
Maybe the principal passed on my grievances. I'm taking my kids out and I'm taking them to it. If you guys are gonna do what you did. I took my sister's kids and my kids, and I took them to Public Works. And then they went home with all the cool stuff, or actually they went to their class with all the swag you guys gave them, and I'm sure all the other, that's where'd you get that? And then they wore the little hats and everything, so maybe that got the word around.
That would be good. All right, with nothing else, we will be adjourning very early today. It's adjournment action.
Sure.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, thank you.
Till next time.
Thank you all. Congratulations. Thank you. And he signs for the last meeting and then.
Well done.
I sign.
There's
I
always.
think she signed.